On a chilly autumnal day, there's nothing quite like knowing that your meal's been cooking all day for you. I'm going to be doing a slow-cooked beef and chorizo stew with dumplings. Sounds great, doesn't it? It is. First of all, I'm going to be using a big enameled pan. Made in Britain, it's made here in Coalbrookdale, and this as a piece of kit is very, very heavy. Takes quite a lot to get the heat into it, but the heat stays there. First things first, I'm going to start warming this up. Pop it on here. Then I'll get the rest of my ingredients ready. The beef is being chopped up by the butchers. I'm using shin. Shin is a cheap cut. It's a brilliant cut. If you look at the marbling in this, that all melts down when you cook it slowly. So this is going to be sweet and succulent. I need some onions, so I better chop these. Onions, beef, chorizo, rosemary, garlic, red wine. Sounds tasty already, doesn't it? Now, I'm not worried too much. I'm not dicing these onions because they're going to melt away into my stew. So not an issue. It is literally to get them ready to go in the pan. Garlic, plenty of garlic for this dish. I'm preparing everything in advance, so when I go back to the cooker, it's just a matter of throwing it in and cooking it. Next, I've got my chorizo. Oh, yeah. This is where an awful lot of flavors come from. Not only am I adding my garlic and my wine and my rosemary, but in this, there's an awful lot of different spices as well. So all the flavors are coming from there. And for me, I just cut it into about inch long, or if you're metric, 2.5 centimeters, or 25 mils. But just cut it into pieces, and that's going to cook with the beef nice and slowly. Need some rosemary for this. Here we go. Right. The very last part of a rosemary stalk is quite tough, so I won't throw those in. And if I take a little bit of my chorizo, I don't want to waste. 1 second. There we go. I've got some fennel seeds because fennel goes really nice in this. At this stage, come across, I can feel the heat in my pan, so I'll add some oil, a serious glug of oil in this. I would say that's 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons. Next is going in my beef. I'm only putting half my beef in to begin with. There. And I'm not stirring it. I'm just leaving it there. I don't want to mess it around, so what's going to happen is the bottom's going to start caramelizing nicely. I'll move this over. Sealing the meat's all about getting some colour into it. I'm not very worried about that because I'm going to be using red wine, and that's going to colour the whole dish anyway. So at this stage, I'm going to fish out the beef, the first half that I've had in here in the pan, and then I'll add the second half in. Pop that over there. Next bit in. Here we go. Second batch of beef is browned. Time to add in the onions and the garlic. Look at that. I'm going to stir this. We want these onions to soften a little bit now, so I'll add in the rest of my beef that I did in my first batch. There's a little bit of blood come out of those. I'll just keep that and put it into my sauce. Right. There we go. I've got this in a high heat. Everything's really vigorous, you can hear it. It's a slow cooked dish, but to start off with, I need to get a lot of energy into it, because when I put it into the lower oven, it has to be hot and ready to go. Excellent. They're softening nicely. Rest of my ingredients going in now. In goes some fennel seeds, about a teaspoon. My chorizo, oh hey ho, yeah, and some of the rosemary. Right, excellent. All flavours are coming together. I want my sauce to thicken when I cook, so I'm going to put in a couple of tablespoons of flour, as well as my cooking liquor, bottle of red wine. First things first, the flour. I'm going to sprinkle this over. I don't have to worry about it going lumpy, because when I stir this in, it's just going to disappear. I want to cook that a little bit before I add any liquid to it. So there are 2 tablespoons of flour. Stir it all in. And you see the flour is actually moving all around the pan. It's coating the meat. So that's going to be nicely cooked. Oops, making the top of my cooker a little bit messy. Don't worry, it's enamel, just have to wipe it off. Time to add the liquid. This is not a subtle dish. You should always cook with good wine. Yep, it all went in. I didn't drink any of it. Now, we're going to bring that up to the boil. All I'm doing, having put the wine in, I'm just gradually scraping anything off the bottom of the pan. I don't want anything to stick to the bottom. There we go, all deglazed. I'm just taking all the little lumpy bits that are stuck to the bottom off. Starting to smell good. Because in here I've got my beef and my chorizo, but I've got all the other flavours I put in as well, because along with my onions and my garlic, I've got rosemary and fennel seeds. And let's not forget that red wine. And when this slow cooks, all the beef that's a bit tight at the moment is just going to relax, and any little bits of gristle in it, gristle and sort of marbling, they'll just melt away. This is going to be so sweet and yummy. That's it. It's been on the side for a couple of minutes just as I was stirring and deglazing. That's come to the boil. I'm going to pop the lid on here and then get it into the lower oven. It's definitely not fast food. It's going to be 4 hours before I'm going to add my dumplings. My beef's been slow cooking for 4 hours. It's going to be lovely and tender. Time to make my dumplings. I'm making rosemary dumplings. British people are supposed to eat dumplings. I love them to bits. These ones are involving, here I've got self-raising flour and suet. Some roughly chopped rosemary goes in there. It's seasoned with salt and pepper. And now I'm going to add a little bit of cold water until it makes a nice sticky mix. It's about a tablespoon there. I want to say 1 more tablespoon. That should be near enough, right? Take a little bit more. Right. Dumplings are so easy to make. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook them in with the beef. So the bottom half is going to be floating. The bottom half's going to be in the sauce and go all lovely and unctuous. And the top half's going to go crispy. Need to make 4 dumplings from this. Doesn't look like very much mixture, but it's self-raising flour. And it'll take moisture from the sauce. Look at that. Cut it in half. Cut it in half. Cut it in half. That's my dumpling. It's the big one. Just turn them into little cylinders, like this. 2. The beauty about these is, somebody's really dipped it. I have to change the size of these because everybody has to have the same size dumpling, because what will usually happen is I get the last choice. Right, dumplings are made. I've been slow cooking in the lower oven, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up to the main oven now because I need more heat for my dumplings. Out we come. Now, in here. Whoa, smells good. You can smell the chorizo. There's the wine in this. I'm going to just get a quick stir here. Here we go. That meat is so tender. The sauce is lovely and thick. I'm going to pop in my dumplings. Give them lots of room to expand. Like this. Next, I'm going to pop it into the top oven. Because this is hotter. I want to put this one in. I'm not worried about leaving the door open, by the way. The heat doesn't escape. Ooh, look at that. In we go. 20 minutes and the dumplings are ready. This is the exciting bit. My dumplings should be ready. Oh, and they are. Look at that. It looks good. Right, service time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the dumpling out of the way very carefully. So, oh, look at that, it's melted. Oh, lovely gravy. That meat will be melt in your mouth. And onto that, I'm going to put my dumpling right there. Slow cooked beef and chorizo, red wine sauce, rosemary and garlic flavouring with a rosemary dumpling. This looks lovely. I don't actually need a knife. Look at that. Some beef first. It's actually missing something. I may have died and gone to heaven.